So we'll continue to talk about the Cold War. So this is a cartoon that I like that shows you after the atomic bomb, the A bomb is what it's nicknamed, that the US and the Soviet Union are going to compete to see who can build bigger and better bombs. And so one that we're going to talk about eventually is called the H bomb. H stands for hydrogen. The hydrogen bomb is way more powerful than the atomic bomb, which is hard to fathom. Luckily, we've never seen it used, but we do know what it's made of, and that it actually takes atomic bombs to set off a hydrogen bomb because it is that powerful. Anyway, the decisions that were made at Potsdam especially resulted into what we know as the Cold War, the fact that France, Great Britain, and America couldn't get along with the Soviet Union. Both kind of put their foot down, and there was a ton of tension. So as the relations started to get worse, the leader from Great Britain, Winston Churchill, the guy who always has a cigar in his mouth, he was speaking at a college in Missouri when he uses a phrase that has kind of stuck with historians since he said it. He said that there was an iron curtain that had descended on Europe. Obviously, you know that iron is really, really strong. And like a curtain is a divider, like it won't let light into your house, so it stops something. And so an iron curtain just meant that there's a serious division in Europe. You have on the east the Soviet Union, and then you have that iron curtain that's drawn, and then you have Western Europe, which is still like your democracy. So to kind of get to the roots of the Cold War, it's essentially communism, Soviet Union, versus democracy, the United States, and a lot of your Western European countries that can't see eye to eye. So Harry Truman, who's not a fan, of course, of Joseph Stalin or communist ideas here in our free America, he goes to Congress, and now we're to 1947, and he says, hey, I need some money because what I'm starting to see is Stalin is trying to spread communism in parts of like Eastern Europe, so like in Greece and Turkey. And so when he testifies before Congress, he says that it must be the policy of the United States to support the free peoples of Europe who are resisting attempted subjugation by armed minorities or by outside pressures, of course, meaning the Soviet Union. The free peoples of the world look to us, the United States, for support in maintaining their freedoms. So, like, remember how we used to be isolationist World War I? Even at the start of World War II, we stay out of it. Yeah, we're no longer isolationists anymore because we are so afraid of communism, because one of the aspects of communism is a worldwide revolution. And so this is basically where the Truman Doctrine is. Truman says, like, we got to stop communism. And eventually there's going to be some alliances that are created. One is NATO, which NATO still exists today. And then the other is the Warsaw Pact. That's like the Soviet Union's alliance. So the NATO is ours. The Warsaw Pact is the Soviet Union's. And so we approach communism by trying to contain it, meaning like we don't want to stop it from spreading. Where the Soviet Union, of course, is trying to expand. And so we're trying to push democracy on countries, and the Soviet Union is trying to push communism on countries, but we're trying to contain communism, trying to stop it from spreading farther. And so we're going to start to give aid to countries like Greece and Turkey to try to stop the spread of communism. You can see the data there, 250 million, 450 million altogether. So yeah, we're going to start with some aid. Eventually troops will be involved as well. The Marshall Plan was from our Secretary of State, George Marshall, and he wanted to stop communism as well, but he thought we need to help these European countries rebuild so that way they don't get economically weak and then they turn to communism for support. So with the Marshall Plan, we're going to give over $12 billion